to the LEC, where we're about to see Team Heretics take on GIANTX. Now, yesterday we had Jankos as a guest in PGL because it was his 10-year anniversary of playing right here in Europe. And today, in fact, is his 600th game on the Rift in EU. That is insane, so we wanted to give a little bit more time to that occasion and just to celebrate his successes in Europe over the years.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive, and obviously at the very start in Rocket he had a bit of a slow start really, but eventually picked it up. And I mean, already when I joined the league, when he was in H2K, he was a veteran, he was like the guy you wanted to beat, and once you beat him, when you had that individual trophy, you knew that you were the real deal, that you could actually battle for the trophy.
He was, so to say, the benchmark for junglers coming into the league and wanting to prove, like, if you could beat him, you were probably good, but the problem is you didn't really beat him that often, right?
Well, unfortunately, I was in the league for 3 years. Actually beat him in 2 of them, to be fair, so it could have been worse, right?
I meant in general, I wasn't
yeah, I know, but even then, you know, he's always been really impressive, and I think that's the beauty of it. It didn't really matter what team he was playing for. No matter if it was a good or a bad team, he would just always perform, which is really difficult to do as a jungler when there's so many pieces moving around you.
Incredibly difficult. Now there we have our wall of champions behind us. It shows all the champions we have had. Of course, you had your fair share of wins as well. But then we see from 2019, Jankos is going to go on to win that title 5 times with G2. Just that level of consistency is unbelievable to attain.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive, and it really goes to show that he is incredible. He is something else. My ego as a former Fnatic player is not happy to admit it, but obviously Jankos is the type of player you want to become when you start your career, right? And for me, I feel like I've been around forever. I only got to play 5 years, and he's still here at the very top after 10.
He is 600 games. I mean, we're getting the benchmarks from a lot of our players recently, but I think he stands out head and shoulders above so much in terms of not only the way he has developed as a player on the Rift within those different teams, but also kind of as an entertainment persona and someone that our fans really relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, coming to a stream is always a fun time. There's going to be laughs and jokes. And I think from a player point of view, being someone who came into the league, having to fight against him, it's kind of interesting to look at all the different junglers that he's battled against, going up against the years. There was the OG junglers back in the day, like Snoopy, Cyanide. Eventually, I joined with others. Now, all of a sudden, he's fighting the likes of Ilyoya. But no matter which generation of junglers we're talking about, he's always there, he's always at the top, and he's always difficult to take down.
He always is, and a word maybe about Team Heretics that he's in now. You know, last year we already said he made something happen, even though it wasn't the easiest situation. It wasn't the best team to be functional in, but he still was unbelievable. You as a jungler know how difficult that is.
Yeah, I think it showed that it doesn't really matter what situation you put him in. He is always going to be impressive. He's always going to be incredible. And most of all, I think the leadership, something we don't really see from the outside, really shows in those cases that, sure, maybe individually, Heretics weren't as strong last year, but they still were an incredible team.
They did, and behind us here, maybe avert your eyes, but it is, of course, some of the titles that Jankos won. And I wanted to ask you about your personal favorite memory of playing against him.
I think this really goes to show that Jankos is just always there. Like, if you want to be the best in Europe, you're going to have to face him a lot. And one of my greatest moments was Spring Final 2018 in Copenhagen, where I managed to beat him. One of the most painful moments, well, 2019 summer in Athens. We lost to G2 in Game 5, and that's really what it's all about. That's what it's felt like being a jungler in this league for the last 10 years. And it's probably going to continue that way. Like, if you want to be the best, if you want to have a chance of becoming the best team, the best jungler in Europe, you have to beat them.
You got to go through Jankos. Amazing. Thank you so much for that memory. And we just wanted to take a minute because we love him so much. He's going to take to the Rift in just a second versus GIANTX with Team Heretics. So, Lore, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sjokz. I think it's really important to celebrate the success and consistency of Jankos, because 10 years, as we said yesterday, playing at the highest level of the league, and he's still here today playing his It's not easy to stay at the top, first of all.
It's very impressive, and I feel like we just keep talking about it because it's just so impressive. Every single day, it's like, wow, soon it's gonna be 700, 800, we don't know when it's gonna stop.
He stayed, yeah.
I was just 14 when he started, and I was watching that as well, right? So, you know, it's been growing up with him at the top, even back in the Rocket days with Overpower as well. So, yeah, truly a legend of the league.
And he stayed true to himself and true to his style, and that's something we can also say about the opposition on the other side of the rift. If we turn to GIANTX right now, especially on the bot lane, I was really happy to see Gnar coming back to Europe, but I'm especially happy to see him staying true to his aggressive style, the one we knew from the time he was in Europe. I'm thinking about the Fervor Leona, opening with Blitzcrank on day one, with Patrik alongside Draven. I think it's the smart choice for a support like this, Finn.
Don't blind pick Milio against IgNar, please. You will let him do this to you over and over. I have such a strong memory of IgNar playing Blitzcrank against Tahm Kench, and as they hooked the Tahm Kench, he ate his ally and he got a double whammy at the same time. Like, this guy, his hooks don't miss, and he is such a playmaker in the champion. It's so impressive to see him still do this.
And that's the thing, like, he just brings the energy. It's the aggression from the get-go. It's something you really need together with Patrik as well, because we saw them try and replicate it with Limit, but it was always a situation where you scaled into the mid to late game with Patrik. Now it's Patrik on a Draven, on a Kalista, and it's been facilitated by IgNar, who's such a chat with some of the support picks he's going for, where it's just about getting the lane ahead.
And it's funny because it's not the champions that he's prioritizing right now are not the champions that the rest of the league is prioritizing, being more in the enchanters and enabling the AD carry. Do you think he's going to be able to innovate and stay true to his style with the champions that he can propose?
Innovate, IgNar?
Yeah.
You know what he did 2017 Worlds? Like, it's this guy. I mean, he will find a way to make engage supports meta. That is what we've known from IgNar. Make it full Ardent meta, the whole world is playing Ardent, he's engaging. Like, he will find a way to make it work, I promise you that.
And I do appreciate what GIANTX brought to the table with the team that they had. I know that on the mid lane, Jackie's was a bit gamble. We don't actually hear a lot about this player. We saw a good side of him, a lot of bad sides as well, but I think it's going to take time for him to
Yeah, obviously, he's an incredibly young player, and I think he's had some good signs, he's had some bad signs as well. This one being one of the better ones on Nico, where I was just thinking to myself, incredible scouting, because this guy has only gone through EMEA Masters play-ins. This is something where you actually try out the different players and you give it a shout. But then this is on day 2 instead, where you start to see some of the cracks, some of the dents. He's over-pushing on a side lane. It's causing a lot of tempo loss for the team because suddenly you have to wait for respawn timers. It's difficult to fight for the map state. And specifically this game as well, where he was trying so hard to try and find the winning Nico, because you're playing into 3 AD carries and Orianna. If you find that game-winning Nico play, you will of course win the game. But it was so difficult for him to fight. And I think that's where the experience also comes into play, where he's not at that level yet, but he's already in the first week of the league showed an incredible amount of potential.
I mean, and he's very raw. You have to see. You can see it in his playstyle and some of the plays he goes for. I think it was game 1 against Vitality. His bot lane is stomping. He went for a cheeky Roma to the top side. It did not work at all. They lost 2v3 and kind of gave the lead to the enemy team, but you still see him have this willingness to go for these plays. And you can really hope he can only build on this and not become a kind of guy that just sits in mid lane and waits for the game to come to him.
And I think that's what's going to define him, because I had a chat with him during the off-season. I was like, okay, what can we expect from you? Because we actually don't know you, we don't have a lot of data on you. And he was like, no, I want to be really aggressive. I'm known as being an aggressive player, so I hope he can shine on the champions he talked to me about. But for me, if you can just control the aggressivity on his side and make sure that he puts it at the right moment, I think it can be formed and become one of the standard mid laner that we have in the league. We see the potential here, but it's a matter of time before GIANTX finds how to exploit it to the best, Finn, I would say.
Just wait until he picks Yone and Akali.
That's the thing, that's the
the
thing,
one,
bro!
yes.
You know
Yone
it,
and
you know
Akali,
it.
I've seen it firsthand in the in-houses, I've seen it in scrims. Like, not leaking anything, because everyone knows he plays the champions. It's like his bread and butter. It's like a Seka from Czech. He's just like
Seka
completely crazy on this champion.
That's a good nickname. I'm
I
hoping
like the
sticks if it comes
analogy.
out.
Yeah, Cheka.
Cheka.
Not bad, not bad.
Well,
Well,
that's just crazy.
staying focused on the draft a bit, because we're going to have the draft at the desk, of course. We talked about mid lane champions. What can we expect on the side of GIANTX today, considering what they played so far? I feel like the draft they had within their hands yesterday lacked a bit of engage, maybe. What do you want to see them refine today, Finn? You'll come after that, GB. And any insights on what you want them to play, to see them play today against Heretics?
Well, what I've seen working for GIANTX is their bot lane. I think both games their bot lane got really, really big leads. And I think Peach has been kind of noticing this and been playing towards them. That's why Jankos and Odo has been left at their own. I mean, Odo is used to it, obviously. But I think Jankos has to also like accept that if his bot lane is doing so good, let them come to you. Don't like stress it. And I want to see them draft these strong bot laners like the Aphelios, Draven, Kalista that I know Patrik is extremely proficient at.
I think it's just about being less stressed as well with it, because even in their game yesterday, they were so stressed to find the right TP flank, the right play with it. I think they want to step to simplicity as well. Something like the Neeko obviously works because it's easy in a team fight. I'm curious to see what else he will look good on when it's not the Yona Akali, but also a champion like Azir, who's been so prominent on this patch.
It's crazy and actually weird to plan what we can expect from these two teams, because when you look Heretics on day 1 and on day 2, it's two completely different teams. I feel like Giants maybe didn't have everything they needed to perform yesterday. On the side of Heretics, Finn, any expectations? We're gonna have to try.
I want to see Kaiser stay in form, because yesterday Kaiser had an immense showing on the Bard. He locked it in, I think it was a last pick as well, a Bard where he just had his lane control all the time and it was everywhere on the map. Every single play he had the initiative on. So I want to keep seeing this from Kaiser, because this is the Kaiser we knew from 2020, 2021. It was the roaming Kaiser, the smart Kaiser, the innovative Kaiser, the Wukong's flanks, the Bard portals, everything like this. I want to keep seeing more of it.
And that's what he said yesterday, and I think that's the tricky part of this Heretics lineup, the fact that they all have a strong voice. They know exactly how they want the game to be played and what they want to drive to their advantage. How do you combine all these voices, GB?
I mean, it didn't look like there was too many voices yesterday. If anything, it felt like everyone was on standby chilling. They know they had the game going from a macro perspective against Rogue. But I am curious going about to that bot side you're talking about, Finn, because going up against the GIANTX bot lane, you really need that X factor down there to make sure that you can actually contain IgNar, not just in the 2v2, but also when he starts roaming around on a pick like Blitzcrank, for example. But, you know, Heretics, they've done their scouting. Jankos, how many champions have you played? Okay, 2 games of Neeko? Alright, let's ban it.
I'm personally excited about the Neeko ban, because I want to see him with something else.
He's getting unleashed
Neeko,
now.
you're basically a slave to your jungler when you play Neeko. You're setting up the place for him and you don't have that much agency by yourself. See him targeting the Kalista, which Patrik is extremely proficient at, and also unlocks IgNar with the engaged champions.
And not surprised to see the Nocturne and LeBlanc bans on the other side. Seems to be standard for red side for
It's
now.
the meta that's been evolving. Let's see if Odoamne is willing to give up the Rumble to Wunder, because Heretics actually did not prioritize the Rumble against, I think it was Mad Lions, Koi. So we will see if they ban it or they dare pretty much Wunder. Are you gonna first pick the Rumble or not? Because I know Odoamne would very much like to have the Rumble himself if it bounces back.
I wonder how many good matchups you would think he would have into it as well. I know last year he was experimenting with Gwen into Rumble, but it didn't really work as well as he probably would have wanted. But it is just one of these S-tier picks, so it is the risk that you're taking and they decide not to do it. But there's still so many strong champions up and available. We've seen the AD carries have priority, like Aphelios as Varus. We've seen the Xin, not the Xin, rather the Xin Zhao. We've seen the Azir, so yeah, they're just going to opt in with one of the better AD carries on the patch.
I would assume we see a Xin Zhao here and probably an AD carry to match. Unless you want to secure an Azir alongside that Xin Zhao, you could pick a Xin Zhao here and then an Azir, and then to kind of see what happens and then answer on the third pick. But I'm almost guaranteed we're going to see a Xin Zhao here coming
He
out
looks
from...
to be the strongest jungler we have.
Yeah, because
on
of the new Titanic changes, he can stack his Q very fastly and jump onto you with a burst combo. He can stack his Q on the Dragon, for example, and then flash in the carries, knock them out immediately. Do see the Ashe, which is a strong lane match towards the Varus, and the Sejuani coming in, which is a
Line Sejuani,
No, that's a surprise.
That's a Peach classic from last year. How good is that? I'm not willing to put my opinion out there on that just yet.
It is the first Sejuani we have of the season so far. So
you know what works really well with Sejuani in mid lane?
Go for it.
Yone.
I thought you were going to say Aurelia, having played with leader.
No. I think they're angling for maybe Yone here. They do take the Xin Zhao, which is to be expected. It is the strongest jungler on the patch. Crazy win rate.
I think you could have gone Trundle as well into a low mobility AD carry like the Ashe as well with the ultimate, but instead of having Jankos on the Akali, you're going to see Perkz on it instead. And now it's really just up to, do you want to take a skill matchup or are you just grabbing an Azir?
I would say Azir Akali is also a skill matchup. It is very high execution from both sides, and if anything goes wrong, especially for the Azir side, you're suffering by a lot. It would be a bit disappointing to see him pick the Azir, but I do believe
you really have high expectations, bro. I love it. Let's see if it actually goes through. No, it's just going to be a Rakan instead. So
I would assume them to ban 2 supports here, GIANTX, to make sure the bot matchup is as good as possible. Perhaps a Nautilus ban would make a lot of sense, and a Renata, I would think they ban. While Heretics, it would make a lot more sense for them to ban out the mids to come with the Sejuani.
We set the stage for IgNar being the playmaker, the crazy scientist on the bot lane for GIANTX. Is this the kind of champion we want to see him on?
I think he sat backstage watching Solus have a Rakan masterclass and was like, I want to do
I
that
got
too.
this.
I got this. We do see the Renata ban coming out. It was expected. What Heretics would want to ban here, I'm not quite as sure as. You could look to ban the melee mids as Perkz with Sejuani, or you could want to take out any, for example, like Gwen would be annoying. If you want to blind pick a tank top, the Gwen ban would be very logical here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jack's still available,
yeah.
Kazant is still available, champions that we know Odoamne is very happy to play into, but I mean, Wunder weak side so often as well with his champions like the Drakos as well, so it's going to be up in the air in terms of where you're getting it, but I mean, I assume you just get a 4th pick mid lane here for GIANTX, and then we'll have the counter pick anyway for Odo, so looking decent for them in that aspect.
Yeah, unless the Heretics is banning 2 top laners angling for a specific top, because then you actually could take it away on 4 for GIANTX here. But I'm 90% sure there's going to be an oh, it was actually Kazant ban.
I think it's a good blind pick option though, so you want to take it out of the
Yeah, definitely. But it does tell me they don't really want to play the Gwen into it, or they expected a Gwen ban here coming out from Heretics, that's why they banned it. Either way, we're going to see a mid lane pick on 4 here by GIANTX. Most likely an Azir or a Orianna would be the most logical choice. As we see Heretics looking for their last ban, which most likely will be a top laner, because I think all the mid lane champions are kind of similar in strength right now. Renekton getting taken out.
What options do you have left here?
Well, I think Aatrox is a very common blind pick in these kinds of scenarios, because the Jax can be annoying. Renekton with the Sejuani can easily lock you down. As we do see the Azir probably getting picked up here by GIANTX. I know I shouldn't talk about hovers, but it has been talked about for so much. I do think we're gonna see it getting locked in.
With the amount of counter game, okay, let's say that Wunder goes for Aatrox right here instead, since the blind pick's kind of available and applicable. If that goes through, what's the response then for GIANTX? Or is there a different champion you're looking at here Finn, to be the blind pick for Wunder?
We will see. I mean, I do lean towards the Aatrox blind here is the most logical, or like maybe a Gnar, but then the Renekton ban doesn't make a lot of sense. I do think we're gonna be seeing either a the Gnar coming in there. Probably gonna see maybe a range support to combo with the Wunder here, because with the Varus, if you go poke Varus, you get a really strong laning phase with like a Bard or a Heimerdinger. Yeah. We've been seeing it a lot, but the Nautilus is always
I think that's the one that kind of breaks it, because it's so good into Rakan and the Ashe itself, but it's also already a team comp with so many melees here, so if you want some extra agency, either with shields that give movement speed or whatever that can come out from an enchanter, the options are really just available for Heretics, whatever kind of playstyle they want to finish out the comp with.
Yeah, it's all about it. It's going to be the Bard again, a little run back from yesterday. And Odoamne with the last pick here against the Gnar. What's he gonna pick? Is he gonna go for a Jace, which has been a pick of him in the past, and a classical counter to Gnar in the East. Usually the Chinese and the Korean top laners really like their Jace into Gnar. Here in Europe, Kennen is pretty common, but I think it's hard to pick Kennen with a Sejuani and a Azir, because you're really going into that heavy MR top side. So it is going to be the Aatrox for Odoamne, which is exciting. This is a really fun matchup that I've played many years, many times, and it's all about can Gnar dodge the Aatrox Qs. It's really just like that. If you dodge the Qs, you win. If you get hit, you lose.
We haven't found so much success.
Very fun
so far, but I'm happy to see Gnar coming back, because it has been one of the best blind pickable options, I feel like, on the top lane. For me, it makes sense that we see the champion again. How do you think these both drafts are going to play into each other, and who do you think will win this one, guys?
Well, I'm curious, because I think the bot side from Heretics can get pushed, at least with Bard and Varus in the early game, down towards the bottom side, and maybe you can start looking into some invades on the red side. It's some of the things we've discussed where a lot of people thought red side was going to have a harder time, because it's so easy to have an invade into that area. We haven't really seen that yet, but you have some potential for it, at least when you have a Xin Zhao that's so good to skirmish in the early game.
Finn,
I think Heretics really wants to fight them on the grubs, on the river fights, because they have these champions that really function on the river, with the Bard moving up first. Akali doesn't really fight on a long lane. She prefers these tight corridors in the jungle and the river. Alongside having the strongest jungler on the patch, Xin Zhao, I want to see them make it crazy.
Same question. Knowing which team impressed you the most, GB, who do you think is in the best position of taking?
Well, we had to do predictions at the start of the day. I'm going to stick with my prediction either way, so it's GIANTX for me.
GIANTX for you?
I'm also a GIANTX believer.
All right.
That's the first time we agreed today, huh?
Well, we will see how both this team play onto the rift. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure doing the draft with you. Dagda, Historics, back to you for the game.
Hell yeah, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the casting booth. You won't be able to see us, but we get to live up to the hype of today, which is the 600th game for a legend in the scene. Even I know. You know, looking back at the H2K days.
Hello.
It's crazy. And you and I as well, just a quick tidbit, we haven't cast together since when? How many days?
It's been 1,233 days since we cast together in person. Back
In
LPL
person.
Summer 2020.
Wow.
So it's been a hot minute, but happy to have you here. Happy to have you in person here.
I don't have the, you know, the Munchballs and Dagda flair. I've got the
You got your own
Dagsterix.
flair, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down.
all right,
I'm
all right.
down.
I feel like that's we'll work on the title. You know, we don't have the Medi-Vedi vibes, but we'll work into that. They're talking a lot on the desk about how important this is. Again, a reminder: Jankos 600th game, and it's crazy to see this guy be around for so long. You know, talking about those 10 years of tenureship in the LEC Dagda.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy, I mean, even from a fan perspective, I remember sitting here in 2018 and watching him on the stage, and it has been memes, it has been fun, it has been tears, it has been happy and joy, it has been everything for Jankos.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of speaks volumes that this man is still here in the LEC, still at the top of his game, and hoping now that he can kind of prove it against some of the newcomers in like Jackies and Peach, who are the upstarts, and see if they can try and take down Heretics here.
Yeah, it's like a birthday, yeah. And it's a huge one at that. Going up against Peach, as you said, bit of a newcomer. 36 games individually I counted on the back end as well. So complete opposite spectrum as Jankos starts on the bottom side here to open up their game. Now, Team Heretics and GX, we've got similarities here, Dagda, where it's been a bit back and forth. I think strong early game yesterday out of GIANTX. Team Heretics we saw against Rogue, punishing the inactivity from that team too. So it is good to see them both coming off some strong points as we run into today to look for that second win, which gives you a bit of a boost up, really the halfway point that we've been talking about that'll lead you into the full magic number Vedius was giving yesterday.
Yeah, I think GX are going to be a little bit upset, though, with their last performance yesterday, because honestly, I think they should have that game in their hands. And you heard the desk talk about it as well, like little mistakes that came back to bite them. But a huge portion of that was Peach playing heavily around that bottom side, trying to get Patrik and IgNar into a position where they could kind of recover from the early stages. And he did a fantastic job of doing that. And I think we'll probably see something very similar here. I mean, Ashe, Sejuani, double Frail Yord, double slows is such a pain for someone like Flakked trying to escape that if you can get that engage going.
Some lockdown is just not going to be averted. There's a bit of information gathered. Hawkshot going to see Jankos moving up towards Wolves here. Just on the side of the screen moments ago, you're also seeing Perkz really out-trading Jackies here on the Azir, doing it yet again. It's experience versus a newcomer once more that we have to talk about as Perkz makes this matchup look a little bit easier.
Yeah, I definitely think this has been something that we've seen a lot in LEC, is this matchup where the Akali stepping up, getting a ton of damage off in the early stages, being able to proc those Qs. It's something that, like, over in the LPL, I've seen a lot of with, like, Fofo, where he's able to get a little bit more of a trade down. But it feels like more in LEC, it looks like the Akalis are just able to get a bit more forward, get a bit heavier of a trade-off, and make it so you're not getting that initial push. But look at the mid lane and bot, it's going as well.
Ignites down, IgNar flashes away, the damage through. Flakked and Kaiser looking clean in the 2v2.
Yeah, and also in the mid lane, there was a gank going towards Jackies. Jankos started to wrap around there, but didn't actually end up burning anything. Just had the sliding glide to get Jackies out of there. So you can already see action galore, but it is Flakked and Kaiser who strike first.
I heard you there. Look at the mid bot. Where are we looking?
It's everywhere. But
Pete's trying to do the same thing as well, right? Just helping get the push here as Perkz just going to react. And Jackies again needs a bit of pressure here with the way the trading's been going.
And I think a lot of this game is going to be for GX trying to track exactly where Jankos is. Because what we've seen a lot of the last couple of days is, hey, when we get this Xin Zhao, we want to look for engages, we want to look for invades, we want to try and skirmish early. And I think that's why we got that early hawk shot to try and spot him out. But on this bot side, just see Flakked stepping, or IgNar going for the engage onto Flakked. Great stun coming through from Kaiser. And IgNar just doesn't have that tankiness in him to try and knock that one out. So great job by Kaiser to land that stun and set them up perfectly.
I love the reaction from some of the bards. You know, looking at DOS the other day as well as we opened up LEC. It was a pretty good bard game, and it's been a reactionary pick here in the league so far. Nice to see a bit of versatility down on the bottom side, where I know some people are complaining about what the meta is in 14.1 and some of the repetitive picks that we're getting through. But again, good to see the bard, especially now as Kaiser makes his roam, but Jackie's out with the shifting sands.
Yeah, just going to make sure that Perkz is able to actually set himself up here. You can see all the hot chocolates going down to make sure Perkz is going to be fine. And just make it as uncomfortable as possible. Jackie's hadn't actually gone for the reset yet, so he's going to go back and do that now. TP into lane. And you can see the Bard is going to start to move down because that wave in bot lane had crashed. So Kaiser definitely wants to be there to make sure he can try and support Flakked in getting the majority of that CS.
And look at what the wave's doing, slowly pushing against. Perkz is still in a great position here as he goes up and trades zones out. Jankos hovers around while Peach is getting frisky in the enemy jungle. He's got a level advantage here, Dagda. Let's see if it means anything.
No, I think at the moment he's just trying to, again, spot out where Jankos is and keep tracks on Wunder. Starting to roam down, we'll spot out the Peach is here, but they're just going to back away. In a 2v2 scenario where you can actually get Odoamne across and you can start to proc the passive from the Sejuani, yes, you can do some damage in the 2v2, but if it's just going to be a scenario where it's Jankos versus Peach, that's where it's going to be a bit more of a difficult one. Jankos, now starting up the Void Grubs, though.
Yeah, like here, takes one with the smite. Peach zoned away yet again. I'm more concerned about what is happening on mid because it depends on who can move first.
I think Peach smited the shield off of that back one. So Jankos now just has an easier clear.
Okay.
Thanks to Peach just saying, yeah, no, it's cool, bro.
600th game.
Yeah. Here's your birthday present.
It's like a present. You're exactly right. Well, Jankos, as he takes the third, I mean, that's a great start here from Team Heretics. You look at the gold lead as well, Dagda. I mean, it's all green or blue. What color is it? Teal. It's all good looking for Team Heretics right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got the kill on bot lane that's setting up beautifully. I think Jankos playing heavily for mid alongside Kaiser has set up wonderfully for Perkz in his mid lane as well. And I think this is mostly what people were more expecting from Heretics coming into the league, is kind of using that veterancy to, hey, look, how do we set up our waves in the early stages? How do we want to lane? Taking a lot of those lessons learned over the years and applying it. And unfortunately, against Mad Lions Koi, didn't quite work out for them.
Yep.
They got a bit bodied in the early stages, but yesterday, very slow and calculated. Today, kind of doing a very similar thing. Look, you got some fire on the bot side, but realistically, it's more, hey, we're going to play for these small incremental advantages with the mid lane plays and now on that bot lane as well.
But let's talk about how it develops, because I think 6 is an important point in this game. Not just because you have Ashe, Rakan, you know, the powerhouse that is Peach with the Glacial Prison. I think more importantly, Perkz, Flakked as well. There's going to be some big ulti power that comes through, especially when we know that these fights coming up for first or second dragon at that point are going to build up.
I think what I really want to see is how this ultimate from Patrik gets used. Oftentimes we see like Ashe looks for a reset, fires the ult up through mid lane and see if he can hit on towards the likes of Perkz in that mid and set up for a play. I mean, with the shuffle, also having Peach who can try and play around that as well with his ultimate available, I think Perkz is going to be in kind of the big target here. Also an opportunity to look for Flakked on that bot side, but with the cleanse still there and Kaiser going to be shortly hitting 6 himself, they'll be able to kind of shut down a lot of that advanced pressure that GX could try and bring to that bot lane, especially if Jankos is there for the 3v3. I just give that edge to Heretics.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially when, you know, GIANTX want to play towards bot side. I mean, Patrik might not be on Draven, but again has been a focal point so far, as Kaiser just showing us a bit of support combat with IgNar. And it's funny, you know, I didn't get to mention this yesterday, Dagda, and it was the perfect time to as well, as Dragon, also going to be taken by Team Heretics, by the way. But, you know, the support player who gets caught out again, maybe a time to pause, was huge at Worlds on NRG. You know, we had another big supportal combat yesterday as well. And when you think about who's big as Shuriken Flip, it's just not going to give me a chance, is it? Because Jackie's all in. Oh, swift movement from Perkz, makes it out, and it's done, isn't it? You know it is. Perkz with the flash available and the ulti, thinking about how he can take it, but look, standing by Jankos, flash for flash. Jackie's now out of options as Peach has to cover.
That was so close. Jackie's tries to go for the outplay on Perkz, but not quite getting it.
Okay, finding him, maybe does it himself. Peach on top of Perkz, runs out of vision. Jankos can't cover, and he's late to the show as Kaiser now trying to follow up, but Peach punishes the risky mid laner from Team Heretics.
I mean, nice job from Peach to get in there. Just runs up the lane, managed to catch out Perkz, and had the flash available, but just wasn't ready on the trigger finger and ends up falling. So Jackie's flash is gone. Will leave him a little bit more suspect when it comes towards Kaiser trying to get these roams off, but a kill going across the GX is going to be a happy day.
Stop all that mid lane aggression. Let's look at the replay though, Dagda, because Perkz, you thought he had this after Jackie's had to burn the ult.
Yeah, once I saw this, it kind of becomes the, hey, how are you going to blow the ultimate? What's the story? And then Jackie's goes for the play, misses on the knockback, and at this stage, it's kind of like a flash or two would kill Jackie's, but doesn't want to go underneath the tower, thinks Jankos has it. Jankos doesn't quite because of the flash, and then it's just Peach running up the lane, managing to catch out Perkz as he looks to finally shove in this wave.
You see the spidey senses from Jackie's as well, dropping the ward in the nick of time. Seeing Jankos and being like, oh man, I gotta match this. So again, a great respect shown. Jackie's holds a bit of control outside of the CS lead that he is losing, but at least again, stopping Perkz to some regard. Because if you look across the map, as I was saying before, Dagda, outside of that kill, it is still good news for Team Heretics. We've got the kill early game. It's first blood going down the bottom side. It's the CS lead through mid, CS lead through top as well. Things still looking good as the grubs are respawning and Team Heretics look to be on the move to try and set up this top side.
Yeah, I think Odoamne knows that something's up though. You can see him backing away. He's just going to go back towards the Krugs, pick them up as he waits to see exactly where Perkz is going to show on the map as he gets back towards mid lane. So at the moment, you can see a huge amount of this presence from the mid lane is now starting to bleed over towards the side lanes as well. And Wunder's been doing a great job in top side. This is not an easy matchup for the Aatrox. A huge amount of it relies on you landing that first Q to get the poke with the Arcane Comet. And
are we fighting this?
He's not going to be able to move down here.
Fourth grub taken, arrow flies up, the Perkz already out of the way. There's the permafrost, but Kaiser gets a stun of his own. 2 grubs left remaining as GIANTX try to deny those Void Mines, but there's a Tempered Fate from Kaiser. Look at it line up against the wall. It's a double, and now they're in trouble. The shut back from Jankos gets him out as Perkz follows it down the charm. Not enough. One more hit. Jankos gets flashed on, and Perkz says good night. Gnar and Peach are now left remaining. Perkz gets low, but this leaves the Void Grubs for Team Heretics to go again.
Peach just ends up setting up perfectly for Kaiser, who times it off of the Sejuani to get the double stun, and that's going to be all 6 Void Grubs now going across to Heretics. They're going to be very happy with the way this early game's going.
Dagda, one more time, please, because again, this got messy as I think Kaiser really set this up.
Yeah, I think the ult going wide from the Ashe, a little bit sad. You know the Gnar is going to be able to move into this vicinity first, so I'm surprised that GX try and commit to this. But as you say, Kaiser, great ult onto Jankos, doesn't get the slide away. And then Peach here just sets up for the double stun. They thought with IgNar coming in, maybe they could do something, but Perkz does a good job of getting over the wall before Jankos can throw that out. And then Heretics are able to pick up the kill onto Perkz after that one.
Well, close but no cigar. For Team Heretics, getting the kill over to Perkz as well is big. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since we got 6, it's a nice time to quickly talk about how good this is when you're ahead, how good getting 5 or 6 of these little guys are. Ved, and Vedi were picked up in the end. And that's all 6, as you said, over to Team Heretics for this game.
And now they'll get to, as you say, get the little Void Knights that are going to be able to help them push in as they start to try and take down these lanes. And I think that's going to be great as this game goes on, especially for people like Perkz, even Wunder as well, who want to try and play out in those side lanes. You can play for that 1-3-1. And even when we look at how we saw the win for Heretics come through against Rogue yesterday, a huge amount of that was, hey, you know, we've got first 2 dragons. Let's start trading on the map. Let's start looking for objective and towers that we can actually use as our enemy has to go and try and take that 3rd dragon. So I think we'll end up in a very similar story here where Heretics more than likely with 37 seconds on the dragon, you push out bot, you push out mid, start to get control over that jungle area, and then make it impossible for GX to try and contest it.
I mean, there's other things that are becoming impossible as well. Jackie's having a safe laning phase. I mean, with Perkz aggression, Kaiser always on the move. It's getting really frustrating for this Azir, who's now 30 CS behind. And Dagger, I think there's something, you know, we were talking about backstage. You were telling me this Team Heretics, from what we know, we kind of saw the playstyle the other day. We saw this more calm, controlled, cool playstyle. But it seems like it's playing out where individual lanes are going well and Team Heretics aren't overforcing.
And that's the thing, it's kind of building on incremental advantages. We saw like, hey look, Perkz getting some good trades in the early stages onto Jackie, but then calling Jankos to really cement that lead in the early stages.
Yep.
They then use that lead in a skirmish to get a 1,000 gold lead now for Perkz in that mid lane, thanks to that extra kill as well. So it's these little things that start to compound. And that's why you can see even with that, they've got some nice gold advantages now with even taking that bot lane tower, but having cleansed it, or bot lane turret plate, but having cleansed them for this upcoming play that it looks like Peach is going for on this bot lane to try and respond to Jankos could be dangerous now for Flakked.
Especially when cleanse against this team, vital when you consider who you're going up against. As you mentioned, Peach, that ult is going to hurt a lot, but no play's going to be made. GIANTX lose out on the Dragon. It's Jankos who's playing the proactive game here with the Titanic Hydra. And again, lanes keep going so smoothly here for these veterans. When it's your 600th game in the league, you want to be looking smooth. You want to be looking cool, calm, collected. I think this is kind of our expectations coming into Team Heretics at the start as well. 6 plates. Dagda, thank you for pointing that out. A good early game for Team Heretics.
You can see now they want to try and swap into basically what they did yesterday as well, which is going to start putting Flakked in towards the mid lane, which unlocks Kaiser. And Odo's not happy about it.
Oh, not at all. I mean, he's just hit level 11. Will it matter? Wunder's going to be given the kill nice and easy. Kaiser so far making a good bet for MVP if they win.
Yeah, he has been everywhere in these early stages, but I feel like the game is only getting started. Storm Surge now completed on towards the Akali. You're going to see Perkz really start to fire on all cylinders, especially if you can get the 1v1 versus Jackie's. And I think that's why you're kind of seeing a lot of GX being pulled down to this bottom side to try and protect Jackie's as he looks to trade the top tower for the bot lane turret. But the second that they disappear, Perkz is going to start walking up. You can even see Kaiser starting to lean down towards this bottom side. They want to try and flush out a lot of that vision that GX just established on this bot lane and see if they can then respond to that last tower that's in the bottom side of the map.
Well, I mean, first Heart Blood, regardless, goes to Team Heretics. It's a 4K gold lead. For GIANTX, at least matching that, as you were talking about, would be great because they've got objective bounties. It's only 15 minutes in the game. Objective bounties for this team that has only dropped 3 kills. Again, talks about what we've been mentioning all game long. GX trying to make a play towards bot side, make a movement. There's the arrow out. To Narnia it goes. We'll find that next time. All right, Perkz doesn't even need to dodge, just watches it. and now they know that's down for another 40-something seconds.
And you can't really contest this as GX. This is what we're talking about. Heretics flushing out this village vision. They're going to start to establish that now in this topside jungle as well. And for, I mean, GX, who tries to check it? Yes, you can have Peach go in, but if he gets hit by a Bard stun, you're getting shot from Flakked from downtown. Jankos has a ton of damage. It's not going to be a fun time. So even though GX have this Sejuani in the jungle, I just don't think they have enough in the tank at the moment to try and contest everything that Heretics are achieving. River vision now belongs to them.
Absolutely, it has for a while as well. You can see GIANTX before the play, or at least before these last couple of minutes, had some deep vision, cleared out. Team Heretics doing their due diligence. Now for GIANTX, a play on the bot side, still going to be hard. It's an Akali, and you're going to need pretty supply and play from IgNar. As they get pushed up against, Perkz holds well, no play comes through, and we are just chilling here once again.
I think it's going to start to become an issue though, because if you look, basically, you can always guarantee pushing mid lane because the Varus has this Q, this poke Varus as well. Now you got Shelly coming down as well, and it means that immediately you get to run down to this bot lane if you want to as well. Perkz is going to start to cover on this mid lane play, but the second this mid lane tower goes down, you just shove that in further as Flakked. You start to teeter down towards bot lane, and Jackie's could be in trouble with that as well.
I just love, you know, again, the options were there, but Jankos is like, nah. And with 6 as well, you've got a whole family. Like going to dinner at Christmas, everyone's joined in. And with the inner turret down, they now make a play. Patrik has a flash away from the Tempered Fate, while meanwhile, bot side, GX is just looking for a response onto Perkz, who has flash, and the perfect execution if need be. There's always a way out. They trade the turret, but it's for 2 in the mid lane, Dagda. I mean, nothing really going wrong there.
Yeah, bot tower isn't going to mean much in this game. And Heretics very much know that. Take the second one in the mid side, or mid lane, and now you're going to be fine. I mean, as I said, Flakked is just going to be able to push in mid. You win the 1v1 in the push against the Ashe. You get to establish vision on this bottom side, and you're going to have Dragon up in just in a minute's time as well. So for Heretics, it's nice reset timing, push out bot wave, start to look for that vision, and you've now got Wunder who can TP in behind GX, potentially, especially if he hits Gnar, and that could be just the closeout of the game right there.
He either TP's in or he sits in the side lane, right, as we're talking about with the Void Grubs. How easy is it right now for the level 13? And I have buttons to press. Look at this one. XP bars. Boom. That is production value right there. Hitting the top right now, as Wunder again has been isolated for the majority of this game. Perkz as well, to no surprise, as to how well in the lane he was doing against Jackies and how well he's been holding his own in the bottom side as well. 40 CS advantage, 40 in the top side. Jungle with a little bit as well. Bot is even, but there's the kill there with opportunity to the side. So, of course, you've got that small item advantage with the tier also stacking for Flakked, as to my meaning. And Dagda, I keep talking them up. I want to see what GX can do. I'm not here for a one-sided affair. We've got 30 seconds till Dragon, and TH have already stacked it up. Chains of Corruption are just going to launch on in. The arrow comes through, but it's a bit late. Look at Perkz clean them through. Jankos flashes into a Rakan, but will it matter? As the Tempered Fate flies, but IgNar is out in the nick of time, but Patrik is not. The range is coming through again. IgNar dodge it. He does so. Now Flakked has to flash away because he was so deep. As the sweep and boot comes through from Jackies, but there's no follow-up. Odoamne was already out there. He might get the reset onto Jankos, but Perkz comes in and makes it messier. Odo with another one in the back, and boy, oh boy, are we doing the switcheroo. Odoamne flies out the side, at least getting something, but Dagda, it's yakety sacks in the mid lane.
It was a bit of an overextension from Flakked that sent Jackie in, but it didn't end up mattering in the long run. So great setup here. Flakked, ultimate onto Peach, and again, you are tanky, but not tanky enough when it's everyone on Heretics that here, apart from Wunder. And then the chase starts. This goes wide. Jankos goes onto Patrik, but again, doesn't really have the damage to try and follow up. Shot going wide here from Flakked, only sets up for Odo, who's now arrived. And then this, Jackie's pushing everyone away. Maybe wanted to send them back into Odoamne, but not really able to separate them too much. Perkz comes over the wall, but again, Odo is just running amok on this Aatrox where he gets the chance. Heretics, though, now in behind.
Doing it again, are they? Leandro is also just picked up with the Storm Surge. That's 2-item Akali. Peach is about to be electrocuted as he flashes away. Over the wall he gets out for now, and Perkz won't be able to chase up. But with Peach out of the picture, things are looking even peachier for Team Heretics as they pick up Dragon. That leads to an Ocean Soul next as well if they're able to follow suit. Still looking good, still a 5k gold lead. Still all about this blue team.
Yeah, and I think as well, the fact that you have a lot of summoner spells burnt as well just opens up Kaiser to try and go for more of these plays as well. So if you end up in a situation where maybe Perkz looking at the side lane tries to go for a bit of spice, but IgNar can respond to this.
Look, Perkz just doesn't care though. That's the problem. He just doesn't care, Dagda. even with 4 members moving to the top side, Perkz instantly clears. Kaiser's always there to cover. And that's the good thing about this Bard, he's just always there.
But this is what I think Kaiser needs to be doing right now. Perkz is a one-man threat where he can instantly kill Jackies if he gets the opportunity. So trying to have Kaiser there to try and protect him, has the Tempered Fate in case Peach ends up rocking up, or even as we've seen, IgNar is waiting over in the wings. So as you can see at the moment, I like what Kaiser's doing. It's, hey, we're going to get pushing mid, and I'm just going to hover between the 2 lanes. I can hit both lanes with my Tempered Fate and make sure it's hard for GX to really get an engage or a pick that could potentially bring them back into this.
Jankos hits towards the bottom side. I mean, again, it's always been about how they get back into this. Now, a quick side note, people have been getting used to the item stacker, so Storm Surge is definitely one of them that needs to be mentioned here. The burst damage coming through from Perkz, even on the likes of someone like Peach, with the Leandra's picked up that no longer has any mana, but has so much burn capabilities with the fact that Storm Surge has this burst. I mean, Perkz is huge. He won out the laning phase, and on this Akali yet again, we are seeing a big deal on the blue side.
Still might be looking at Perkz though, despite this. He is on his own. They saw a lot of members of Heretics on that bottom side of the map, but looks like they're not fully confident to try and go for this. And instead, Heretics now shove in mid, and they're the ones that once more are going to just try and establish vision in this Baron area. I have a feeling they don't feel confident enough to just immediately go for Baron, because when you look at their damage composition, it's Poke, Varus, Akali. They're not great at taking Baron very, very quickly. So I think it's more of a case of, hey, can we try and bait GX into the vision that we've established on this top side? Like, look for a pick with Flakked, with Kaiser, or else just continue to farm and look for that Ocean Soul in 3 minutes.
And again, it's just so simple, isn't it? And I want to note, Wunder's damage to turrets is insane with just a Black Cleaver and Trinity Force. Like, this guy's not rocking the new Hull Breaker. We're just seeing a Gnar, who again is so far ahead of the curve in EXP, they're just sticking to the side lanes for now. I mean, it's showing the class of Wunder again, why he's so hyped up on Fnatic for the fill-in position, and more importantly now on Team Heretics, while they're hyping him up yet again.
Yeah, he's going to be able to walk away from this one. But again, I think it's just, this is the style we'll see from Heretics. They play 1-3-1 so incredibly well. See how many members that GX have had to invest onto this bottom side to just try and deal with Wunder. Okay, cool. Well, then that opens up Perkz and the Akali to start to shove in as well. Again, you're winning that mid lane push thanks to Flakked being this poke Varus. So they're never overextending or doing too much. It's just a case of ping pong the waves, back and forth, get your vision line a little bit further forward, bit by bit. And the second you just don't know where they are, that's where you're in danger zone for GX. Again, you're investing 3 members onto the bottom side because they just don't know what Heretics are going to do.
And cleaning out vision on the other side while it lands. Patrik with the arrow. Out it goes. Wunder runs into it because he ain't scared of no arrow. But as everyone commits, the Tempered Fate comes through. The ulti jankily still goes off. Wunder flashes over and looks for the escape. He hops, he jumps, he skips. But unfortunately, the follow-up's still there. And GX find the beefed up top laner as Jankos is now isolated. But Titanic Hydra, ladies and gentlemen, be fearful. IgNar flashes out and gets out. It'll still be a pick, but what does it lead to, Dagda?
It's a nice pick. It'll slow down the pace of Wunder as well. He's going to have to try and get back out here. 1.5 minutes until Ocean Dragon. The whole plan here for Heretics was to keep up this pressure so then they could establish the control on bot side and then play for that next dragon. But now that Wunder's been picked, it just eases up that opportunity. Odoamne can shove out bot. You now have Patrik who's able to contest mid-wave and just give GX an opportunity to actually contest this next dragon.
And to attest to your point as well, I guess also the flash being down on Gnar, when you consider that Team Heretics won't shy away from a fight, is also impactful. So I like the win there. I like the attitude from GX, and I like the fact that, again, they're still 5,000 gold down, but it's not impossible here as red buff distributed nicely just before we get down to that minute timer that's accrued in the Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, especially the fact that you have summoner spells on Patrik and Jackies as well for this next fight. This could give GX an opportunity. The biggest downside is you don't have a second item completed here for Jackies. He's sitting on just a needlessly large rod. So I think that's where you're going to be lacking in that damage profile. But if you can find a moment to, well, maybe find a pick onto Perkz, but I think get Peach into position or even Jackies with a big swoop move, they could do something.
Good indeed. Ignite goes down early though. Let's pause on this. Wunder, no Gnar, Tempered Fate used as well, but Wunder still accrues damage if he stays in combat. But that is Kaiser's ult down for a little bit, and remember that dragon's 20 seconds off.
Yeah, again, that's going to be a bit of a swing and a miss from Heretics. They are trying to overforce on the top side to help out Perkz or try and respond to GX making the pick on Perkz before Dragon, but Tempered Fate being down and having no flash on Wunder means you're kind of lacking when it comes to the engage tools here. Yeah. So GX feeling way more confident to step up, and if you separate here, Patrick's ultimate could be key here to pick off Heretics.
Now remember, Jackies is in the top side. If he joins in, teleport is available. So this Azir can join in if he's able to base, but teleport comes in early instead for the likes of Perkz in base. There's the quickness from IgNar, but against the wall, Wunder says no. Jumping in the back line, Jankos has no fear, and Perkz now on top of IgNar. Look at GIANTX, they're separated and relying on big bad Odoamne, but in the grave he'll find himself if he stays in. But Jackie's, the rookie, tries to clean it up, but it's unfortunately too late yet again. It doesn't come together, and Team Heretics have gone fishing.
GX couldn't clear out of the wards, and Heretics find a perfect flank for Perkz. As GX are routed, Soul is taken, and Baron might be next.
Man, you can see there's moments like before, the swoop and boopers, I believe you coined it, and I think I have to pay you $50 every time I say it, Dagda. Came through late in the last fight, came through then again, hits everyone, but doesn't matter if no one's alive, as now IgNar has to stop and stare, watch this Baron get hit a few times. I have seen it on newbie, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have been Crisp actually, or maybe it was more back in the day. A Gleaming Quill has stolen Baron before, but he's walking away. Doubtful this time. Team Heretics will likely put the nail in the coffin from here. This is good. This is a really good look for TH.
Yeah, there's no Gleaming lining here for GX, but for Heretics, beautiful stuff. TP from the vision they already established off the plays already. Wunder getting onto that front line as well, setting up beautifully. And at this stage, Jankos, Wunder, Perkz decimate the back line. Jackie's was waiting for that Rabadon death cap in base, so he's late to the party. And Flakked getting a ton of these shots off. Yeah. As you say, great engage from Jackie's, but where's the follow-up? You know, everyone on GX has already been taken out of the equation, so Heretics happy for Jackie's to send himself into that one. And you can see it there, Poke Varus with these new lethality items is doing work.
Yeah, Flakked is huge, 5.5. I mean, also, seeing another Akali, so far, EU Akalis have been crazy. Like, Humanoid has been called crazy. I think it was Niski yesterday as well. I'm putting Perkz in that list, 5, 1, and 2. Also with new Rabadons, remember that 40% scaling on AP instead of 35. It's absolutely massive to see this Akali now with 3 items, who is going to nuke anyone who comes towards him.
And I think this is what we wanted to see from Heretics. Like, this is the veterancy coming in. It's good setup at objectives, understanding how to approach the map. You know, slow and steady. Yes, there's some explosive moments, but it's not a hands diff, it's a brain diff in a lot of these situations. And Perkz will get knocked in the head by that arrow anyway, but able to get out. And I think this is where, again, this is kind of what the people that saw this OG2 lineup reuniting expected to see from this team.
And again, with that veterancy, I was going to say old man in the jungle, but I'm pretty sure he's my age. And Vedius already gave him flack yesterday for calling him old at 31. But, I mean, Jankos has been leading, and we know in this game, really solid as well. Throughout the jungle, hasn't picked up the kills, but is definitely such a reliable source on Team Heretics as the rest of the members just calling me out. Hitting the top side, that's down. 3 members stay stacked here with Baron. Jankos jumps in, looking for an inner down bot side as well. And you see the split, the 1-3-1 dagger coming through yet again.
And I think it's kind of shown the cracks of what GX brought to the table here. Not having that 1v1 potential in the jungle meant that Peach was kind of on the back foot to try and catch up with Jankos in a lot of these early stages. Couldn't play as aggressive as he wanted to into that top side or even into the bottom lane as well. And now Heretics kind of reaping the benefit of Jankos having the more explosive early game. Peach want to make it work now.
Perkz has taken on 2 people on the backside, but he gets dunked down before anyone can get there, and now Wunder might be caught out, but at least having a bit of tenacity finds his way through. Odoamne's low, but still willing to join in the fight. That's a good pick to stop the aggression with the Baron, and maybe give a bit of breathing room for GIANTX.
Yeah, it's overextension for Perkz, and nice job there from Peach to shut him down and help out his team. Jackie's getting the tower up will last just a moment longer, but I think the biggest one is now it only blocks Odoamne to try and clear out that top side of the map. You can even see, Patrik starting to clear out bots. So again, Heretics kind of fumbling the ball a little bit on these side lane plays and not respecting the fact that you can have these long-range engages from the Freljordians on GX.
They're trying to follow that up again, aren't they? Red buff, I believe, taken down here by Jankos as he looks for someone else. This time it's IgNar. The chase is good, and remember with Ocean Soul, they ain't near dying at all. Team Heretics regroup, a look for the picks. I mean, these are dangerous backing positions. Kaiser going to find one. That's onto Peach. Jankos launches in yet again, slows him down. Peach has got 570 games to reach the mastermind. That is Team Heretics Jankos. Again, showing his veterancy. Team Heretics just getting a nice pick.
Immediate TP from Perkz at the bot side as well. They smell blood in the water with this one. Want to try and make sure that they can use as much of this opportunity to get these waves shoved in. Again, like Baron for 2.5, you got Elder in mid at 45. If you can crack open and start getting super creeps in one of these lanes, it's going to be so good for them.
Nope, another arrow goes down. Seems easy to do that at this point as well, I might add. Wunder chases forward the level 17 Gnar, now with Jankos in his inventory as well. A great frontline as Perkz just hits down the bottom side. Top as well. Might be stacking opposite, but that's something that can come a little bit later. GIANTX have to go to and fro. Which lane do you deal with?
Neither, because there's not really much you can do. Heretics, again, they crack up in the base. They won't go and overextend for the mid lane tower, or mid lane inhibitor with Peach coming back up, but it's still a good amount of control. They drop the vision on the way out, and GX will now spend, you know, the next 30 seconds trying to re-establish that vision on this bottom side, and then looking for the resets for this Outer Dragon as well. Looks like instead, actually, they're just going to reset now. Not a huge amount of control wards in their back pockets, and try and come back out and see if they can compete for Heretics on this Outer Dragon, but
That sounds hard.
it is tough.
That's a bit rough.
Well, the thing is, do you even have to fully like force this as Heretics? Because if you start to push in mid and you push in bottom, basically do what you have been doing, you can just re-establish the vision on this bottom side and make it impossible for GX to try and commit to this. So I like that we're kind of looking at the slow. You got a big wave on top side.
Yep.
Heretics are just looking to play the map again.
It's clinical. It's what we want to see. Jankos frontlining for the time being, maybe giving hope to GIANTX, but is there any hope? I mean, Odoamne getting shredded. Jankos pops the ulti. He's still fine. Takes down Odo, the flash away from Jackie's. I mean, it's experience for some of the younger rookies in the league. And right now, the old men are winning out.
Yeah, apparently you just have to be the newest players in the league if you want to try and beat Heretics. But, I mean, Heretics looking spry and good at the moment. Dragon going to be set up for them. You can see at least GX are trying to respond by putting some vision down over the Baron, but with Elder Dragon up, Baron's going to be Heretics. He can't even compete for this. And you see Patrik on the camera there. Even he's scratching his beard as to what the hell do we try and do to come back into this?
I mean, again, it's not even optimism at this point, Dagda. I think we could be deluded if we say they come through,
Pure
Elders in
deluded.
hand. I mean, at what point do you go, this is over, we're just waiting for the finishing bell, you know? Like, at this point in the game, you get the feeling it's Mike Tyson versus me. Now, against Mike Tyson, I'm going to get cleaved. All right, let's be realistic.
I don't know, I saw your boxing coming in yesterday in your WWE intro.
No,
Maybe, yeah.
No way am I close. I'm not even close to Gigabin. You know what I'm like? I'm like the guy in Hangover. And Mike Tyson starts singing. I don't even know the character's name. Stu. That's the experience right now.
Is there stew? Is that what we're going with?
That's it. We're biding our time, because for GIANTX, I mean, I will say, you know, it's been better than expected for me. I think at the start of the split, I had mid expectations of this team, considering other rosters leveling up, like, you know, Team Heretics, who didn't perform out of the gate, but definitely are now. But here today, past that early game, I mean, it has been controlled, it has been calm, collected. GIANTX now on their last legs with this topside turret getting threatened with Baron, with Elder, remember, as well. It's just so easy to run into the base, and GIANTX have to pay respect and look for their last stand in front of these Nexus turrets in any blink of hope.
That's the thing, Perkz has already started to push in that wave. It started on the inhibitor. So now, you got to engage against an Elder Dragon.
You've got to, but you don't want to. You don't want to be in this position. Team Heretics slow and controlled again. The Tempered Fate locks down too. All you need is a Cosmic Binding to follow through all the poke that's been coming in. Peach ain't tanky enough. Heretics jungler Jankos, the legend, jumps on in. They expose the Nexus. How clean is this for his 600th game? He didn't need to sweat. Been sweating for 9 years. Now's the time to relax for yet another win on the board.
As Perkz said, it feels like a homecoming to come back onto this Heretics roster, and I mean, that one definitely felt like a party for Jankos. Very smooth game for them, and you see Jackie's there kind of distraught as to how he was supposed to try and figure out that one.
Yeah.
You see there your players of the game, Perkz, Flakked or
Good.
Kaiser. An incredible performance across the board, to be honest.
A big congratulations again, but for your player of the game, your key player of the game, excuse me, at LEC on X, you can vote for Perkz, Flakked or Kaiser. It's sad he's not on there. I mean, we should know him on anyway. Come on, an absolute legend. He deserves respect, but ladies and gentlemen, after the break, speaking of respect, we got some rivalries coming through with KC versus MDK right after this.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Did anybody's breakfast